Next we have Santa Costanza, not named after this guy, but rather a church that looks like this. And this is a different kind of structure. This is called a central plan structure. So a plan where the parts of a building radiate from a central point. Could be octagonal, could be circular. Generally, it's not going to be square. It could theoretically be a square form. And we see this oftentimes adjacent to basilicas. So oftentimes these structures, these central plan structures, will be built as mausoleums, baptistries, or private chapels off the side of a larger basilica. Likely in this case, it's a mausoleum to Constantine's daughter. As we look inside, what we see is a small structure, an intimate space where one could commune with their God, which is exactly what we're seeing. And we're seeing a couple of things. So in the center, we have an altar surrounded, in this case, by seating, but it would be standing room, typically in the more Roman times, at the time that it's built. And around the outside, we have what's called an ambulatory, which is this path between the wall and the columns, which I also would refer to as an aisle. It sort of depends on how I'm talking about the structure. So the interior is also fairly plain, just like the exterior, with the exception of some of the imagery that we see above the ambulatory. And this is very common Roman imagery, things like vines and so winemaking. And this isn't about wine as the Romans understand it as refreshment, but rather the wine of the Eucharist. The idea behind the ambulatory is that I could be close to God while, for example, walking around pondering something that's happening in my life. And why are they borrowing Roman imagery? Of course, they're developing their own visual vocabulary. And as such, you're going to borrow frequently from the peoples that you know. Rome, of course, surrounds them, and so that's going to be the basis of a lot of their imagery.